Does it get any better than that? The food you need when disaster hits. Sign up today at wdeanshook.com. That's wdeanshook.com.
All right, and thank you again for allowing me that break. I appreciate it so much, and everybody staying here. We apparently have got trolls on parade. I'm trying to weed through them. It's not an easy thing to do. This is usually why I take phone calls. The switchboard's always full, but it's usually people who are legitimately listening and not necessarily the trolls on parade. We're going to give this another whack with Bob from Maryland and see if this works out. Hi, Bobby, you there?
Hey, man, thanks for taking my call.
Oh, yeah.
Not a troll.
Thank you.
I feel for your plight there with that.
Well, it's a challenge sometimes. So,
yeah.
What's on your mind?
Oh, there's a lot on my mind about your show here. It's a good show, man, and it kind of caught my ear. Usually your shows like this are like categories different. So I think maybe you snuck past me or something if you had it in the past or something. But that whole education thing is definitely indoctrination camp, no question about it. And what we were talking about when you screened the call, I'm a veteran, and I look at it from a military mind. We have KGB former operatives, agents who've defected here who've told us as much. This has been going on since way before I was even born, Actually, yeah. I think the 60s is probably when they start bearing some fruit first. So this has been going on for like over 60 years now,
Yep.
And one of the defectors by name, his name is Yuri Bezmenov, and he said in one of his seminars, there's a video of YouTube on YouTube of a couple different seminars. One's an interview, the other one he's giving a seminar, about an hour and 20 minutes long a piece, give or take. And in the one interview, he's quoting, I'll never forget it ever. You've had several generations of American students that have had Marxist, Leninist ideology pumped into their soft brains, and it has gone unchallenged by a counterbalance of American patriotism. And he said this in 1984.
Well, what do you think that means, counterbalanced by patriotism?
It has gone unchallenged as far as, presenting both sides of the coin. They're only getting that Shea is cool, wear your Shea T-shirt. Socialism is equality. Capitalism is greed. Accomplishing the American dream, which used to be everybody's goal and a good thing to look up to strive for, is now bad, according to half of this country, Democrat Party, liberals, whatever you want to call them. I call them, basically they want to be communists. Let's call them what they are.
Well, I don't know that I would say that they're communists. I think it's more of a combination of communism and socialism and Marxism. I've said before that the whole system seems to be, look, I gave this example. Hitler had his own ideology, and it was unique, and it was very effective, but so did Stalin. He had his own ideology that wasn't the same as Hitler's, although in some aspects of it. Lenin had the same thing. He had his own ideology that had aspects of the other two powers, but It was unique unto itself. And I think this Obama thing is kind of the same way, where he has his own unique perspective, but it incorporates all three of those others that I just mentioned, where he's got aspects of all three of those for his own unique perspective. I think that when we start to go through this Alinski thing, that he's following this rules for radicals verbatim, word for word. He worked for Alinski institutions. He taught how to crash the middle class and how important it was to do that.
Right. Yeah, I don't really like go. I know a lot of people will get into the specifics of the differences between communism and socialism. So I just call it all totalitarianism. It's all going down that same road,
Yeah.
And like you said, there's different levels or whatever. But I mean, they all lead the same way. It's like either you're going to have financial ruin or you will be murdered by your own government because you don't agree with them. That's basically your two options when you go down those roads. And you're right. This is their actions that they've been taking. I've been studying these guys, man. What they said before Obama ever got elected, he'd be transparent. He's been the least transparent. One of the first things they do is install a lady in DHS there who thinks veterans are the ones that we're going to need to be watching out for. These people who bled for the country are now the ones that are going to be on this Homeland Security terrorist watch list thing. And then you have them buying how many rounds of hollow point ammunition? They're doing all the same things these totalitarian regimes throughout history have done. One of the first things they do is eventually they will consolidate their power and get rid of their opponents.
Absolutely. You know? That is the next step. That's exactly right. So apparently you are on the stick. You're on the ball because that's exactly right. That's the next step.
Yeah, and I mean, it just makes the hair, my spidey senses tingle. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And as soon as I hear about DHS buying all this ammunition, then they're buying a bunch of armored personnel carriers with firing ports. And then if you add in the drone technology, and then the fire recognition center out in California that will recognize gunfire like on any street. If, like, say, a police department in Milwaukee, Wisconsin hires these people, then some guys having a shootout on the street. Well, this center in L.A. Communicates with the cops. There's gunfire on 5th and Main, so their response time is lessened. Now, in my military mind, I add all that up and then go to the scenario of civil unrest with leftists in power in government. And what do you have? Think about this.
You're exactly right. Yes.
See where this is going?
Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right. Not only that, but what they say is conspiracy theory for the FEMA camps, all of these coffin liners, everything that they're setting up all along those lines, the assault vehicles, the paramilitary training, the new NDAA executive order that gives him all of this unprecedented power, which other presidents have had. But what's different about this is he now has this power both in a time of disaster or war and in a time of peace. Now that's really strange, is that he has this power in a time of peace.
Right.
He wouldn't sign this unless he had some sort of plan to use this in the future. So what you said is exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and then you have Senator Obama campaigning. Remember he talked about his own a private force as strong as the military itself? Yeah. I mean, that to me sounds like, the Hitler Youth thing they had going on in World War, Nazi Germany or something.
Well, just mentioning that, if you're versed in history, the Hitler Youth are the ones that were taught in school to sing songs about Hitler. Well, they're doing the same thing in our schools. They're singing these songs about Obama.
Right.
The exact same thing. I mean, you could put the two clips next to each other. I may do that. I may put that on the website and just put them next to each other. You can play them both at the same time, and they're almost mouthing the same thing, except instead of saying Hitler, they're saying Obama.
Yeah, and then you have to look at who's running the education system. Again, it goes right back to these. I'll say it. I don't care. White liberals. White liberals are doing this. They're the ones. I mean, and then there's a book called Liberal Fascism by Jonah Goldberg that points out so many similarities between these liberals in America right now and what was going on pre-World War II in Germany. And its similarities are just eerie.
Well, I think there's a concerted goal to pit everybody against each other, religiously, ideologically, racially, sexually. The big thing with gay marriage. Before Obama was elected, he wasn't for it. Now, all of a sudden, he's not only for it, he's pushing for it. He's had a drastic change there. Well, there's a reason why he's doing all of these things. And he's doing all of these things at the same time, because this is directly out of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, which he taught on. He's a professor on this rule of radicals. And he's filled his cabinet and everybody under him with the people who had the same ideology. Everybody's working for the same thing, right down to Hillary Clinton and everybody else that's under him, the education system. What about Brennan, the leader of the CIA, who was converted to Islam in Saudi Arabia while he was in office over there? This wasn't a religious move. This was a political move where the Saudi Arabian government went to him, converted him to Islam, while he was in office by the government. This was a political move. Then he comes back here, and Obama puts him in charge of the CIA, the one that investigates all of these terrorism acts and everything that goes with that. And now this guy is a Muslim. I have a clip. This guy is a Muslim who says that jihad is a legitimate tenet of Islam. That holy war is a legitimate tenet of Islam. And they put him in charge of the CIA.
Right.
Come on.
Right. That's one prong, and the other prong, you get the media that will not report it properly.
That's exactly right. That's exactly.
And if you look at history again, totalitarian regimes, the Soviets, Chinese, whatever, and now Obama, he had Anita Dunn in his administration, who was communications director, quoted as saying she admired Chairman Mao. She's also quoted as saying, "We controlled the media." What has Soviets traditionally done? TASS and Pravda controlled the media.
Yes.
Either by omission or commission. Either they report what they want, slanted the way they want, or they don't report what they don't want you to know.
Yeah, exactly. Just the same thing as the illegals crossing the border. The Mexicans that are coming across our border are not the problem. It's the OTMs, other than Mexicans, that are coming across our border. That's the problem. And Peter King has gone in front of Congress and told Congress and the Senate, both in front of a full Congress, and reported that they're coming across our borders by the thousands every single year. But yet our administration won't go down there and do anything about it. They say, well, what we did is we sent the military down there, the National Guard down there, in an administrative role. They're now in the offices doing the administrative part. They're saying, well, our border cities are now stronger than ever. Well, that's true. So what did the illegals do? They quit coming across in the cities. They now go out to the mountains and cross there. It hasn't stopped. It just moved.
Right.
And they won't stop it. Why won't they stop it? They know these terrorists, these sleeper cells, they found them from Iraq, Iran, Yemen, Somalia, people who are clear terrorists coming across our border. Why won't they stop them?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just America's getting assaulted from all angles, and the worst one is from within, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're doing this because they're waiting for that crisis that would allow them to do something that they weren't able to do before. The Saul Alinski says clearly it's only through chaos that you're going to bring change. It's just like crashing our economy. I don't think Obama intends to crash our economy. I think he intends to push it to the brink and may let it crash if that crisis doesn't come. But he's pushing it to the brink to create this crisis so he can take more control. It's only through crisis that you can make a change that gives you that control.
Right, exactly. Like you were saying, I think you mentioned earlier, like the in Connecticut, the shootings there, the shooting in the theaters. They got they play on those emotions. Now there's kids getting murdered here, so they play on emotions. It's one person, one nut job doing it, and then so however many other millions of legal gun owners will have to pay the price for one nut job, and it's all as soon as they get that opening. Well, who was it? It was in Obama's administration. Now he's the mayor of Chicago. Rahm Emanuel. He said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste."
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's such an overreaction. If it's just there's one person breaking the law and murdering all those kids, one person. But then how many people own a gun in this country? 100 million. So now 100 million people who didn't do anything wrong are going to have to pay for the acts of one, criminal, crazy person.
You know what I would assume. I mean, you seem like a clear thinker. It's not hard to figure out what the goal here is. It's to disarm Americans while they arm themselves. 2 billion rounds of .40 caliber ammo. The assault vehicles. They're buying all of these AR-15s, M16s. They're doing military exercises in our cities to try to get people used to the idea of the military being in our streets. there's a purpose behind all of this. None of this is by accident. All of this is orchestrated for one central goal, and it's all. I'm going to go through it here in a little bit if I can never stop jacking my jaw. Of these rules for radicals. I mean, I've been trying to get people to listen to this for so long because I heard all weekend long all of these talk show hosts who keep